In a world that constantly pushes us to be connected, to be surrounded by people, to always be on, it's easy to forget the profound power that comes from simply being by yourself. The first step to being truly happy alone is to learn to embrace your own company, to stop seeing solitude as a punishment or a void, but as an opportunity to rediscover who you are and what truly matters to you. Being alone does not mean being lonely. Loneliness is a feeling of disconnection and aches that comes from needing the approval, attention, or validation of others to feel whole. But solitude, on the other hand, is the choice to be alone, not out of necessity, but because it gives you the space to reconnect with yourself. It's in those quiet moments, away from the noise of the world, that we often find clarity, creativity, and a deeper understanding of who we are. When you embrace your own company, you begin to realize something profound. You do not need the presence of others to feel complete. You already carry within you the full spectrum of everything you need to experience joy, peace, and purpose. You are not dependent on anyone else to validate your worth because you understand that you are worthy simply by being. This shift in perspective is life-changing. Think about it, so much of our lives are spent running from ourselves. We hide behind relationships, jobs, and distractions, never taking the time to sit quietly with our own thoughts. But when you embrace being alone, you start to see yourself in a new light. You start to acknowledge the person you become, the dreams you set aside, the passions that may have been forgotten in the hustle and bustle of life. And when you learn to enjoy your own company, something magical happens. You become your own best friend. You start to speak to yourself with kindness and compassion, not criticism and doubt. You begin to honor your needs, to set boundaries, and to make choices that support your growth, not your fear. Being alone isn't about avoiding people, it's about creating a healthy relationship with yourself so that when you do interact with others, you do so from a place of strength and self-assurance. Being comfortable with your own company also teaches you the art of self-reflection. It gives you the time and space to process your thoughts, feelings, and experiences without the influence of others' opinions. You can begin to ask yourself the hard questions: what do I want out of life? What do I need to be truly happy? What are the things that bring me peace and fulfillment? The more you spend time with yourself, the more you come to realize that your own company is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be cherished. In solitude, you create the most intimate relationship you will ever have, the relationship with yourself. It's in the stillness, the quiet moments of being alone, that you truly understand the beauty of who you are. You begin to appreciate the small things that make you uniquely you, the way you laugh, the way you think, the way you approach life. So when you start embracing your own company, you stop waiting for external circumstances or people to dictate your happiness. You become the source of your own joy. And that, my friends, is a freedom like no other. Self-love is not a luxury, it is a necessity. In a world where we're constantly taught to seek approval, to chase perfection, and to measure our worth by the standards of others, learning to love yourself is the most revolutionary thing you can do. Self-love is the foundation of happiness, the bedrock upon which every other part of your life stands. Without it, you're building on sand, unstable, shifting, always at risk of crumbling. When you truly love yourself, you no longer seek validation from the outside world to feel worthy. The need to please others, to fit into their expectations, or to live up to their standards dissolves. Instead, you begin to create your own standards of success and happiness. You become your own biggest supporter, your own fiercest advocate. You learn to speak to yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and understanding that you would offer to a beloved friend or family member. The practice of self-love means accepting yourself fully in all your glory and flaws. It's about acknowledging that you are not perfect, and that's okay. Perfection is a myth. It's an unattainable illusion that only sets us up for frustration and disappointment. True self-love is rooted in acceptance, the acceptance of yourself as you are right now in this moment. It means forgiving yourself for past mistakes and letting go of guilt and shame that may have weighed you down for years. It means realizing that your worth is not defined by your failures or shortcomings, but by the simple fact that you are human and you deserve love just because you exist. Self-love also involves setting boundaries. When you love yourself, you realize that you have the right to say no to things and people that drain your energy, your spirit, or your time. You stop apologizing for choosing yourself, for protecting your peace, for putting your well-being first. Whether it's ending a toxic relationship, walking away from an unfulfilling job, or simply taking a break to recharge, self-love means making decisions that prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health over everything else. But self-love isn't just about saying no, it's also about saying yes to yourself. Yes, I am worthy of taking up space. Yes, I am worthy of love. Yes, I am worthy of success. It's about celebrating yourself, not waiting for someone else to recognize your value. It's giving yourself permission to dream big, to pursue your goals, and to believe in your own potential. Too often we hold back, waiting for the right moment or for someone else's approval, when the truth is you are more than ready to live the life you've always imagined. Another crucial aspect of self-love is self-compassion. Life isn't always easy, and you will face challenges, setbacks, and heartbreak. But when you love yourself, you don't beat yourself up for the mistakes you make along the way. Instead, you offer yourself the same understanding and forgiveness you would offer to anyone else. You treat yourself with patience and care, especially during times of failure or difficulty. Self-compassion means not looking at your missteps as evidence of your inadequacy, but as opportunities to learn and grow. It's about being gentle with yourself, even when you fall short, knowing that you are doing the best you can. Self-love also means honoring your own needs and desires. Too often, we put others' needs before our own, neglecting our own well-being in the process. But when you love yourself, you recognize that you have the right to take up space, to express your desires, and to pursue the things that bring you joy. It's about honoring your intuition and trusting yourself enough to follow your heart, even when the path isn't always clear. When you love yourself, you no longer feel guilty for prioritizing your own happiness or for saying no to things that don't align with your values or your vision for your life. Lastly, self-love is about self-respect. It's about knowing your worth and acting accordingly. It's about standing tall in your convictions, expressing yourself authentically, and not settling for anything less than what you truly deserve. Self-respect means not allowing anyone to treat you in a way that contradicts the love you have for yourself. It's about protecting your peace and your dignity and recognizing that you are worthy of the highest respect no matter your circumstances. When you love yourself, you send out a powerful message to the universe that you are enough just as you are. You radiate a confidence that attracts the right people, opportunities, and experiences into your life. When you embrace self-love, you stop waiting for external validation, and you start recognizing the infinite value within you. This inner peace, this acceptance, this quiet confidence is what truly allows you to be happy, whether you are alone or in the company of others. Because the truth is, when you love yourself, you no longer need anyone else to tell you that you are worthy. You know it in your heart. Healing from past hurts is one of the most challenging yet transformative journeys you can undertake. We all carry the weight of old wounds, some visible, some hidden deep within us. These scars may come from relationships that didn't work out, from betrayals that shattered our trust, from dreams we never fully realized, or from words that cut deeper than we ever expected. But here's the truth: your past does not have to define your future. You have the power to heal, to move forward, and to rewrite the story of your life. Healing begins with the decision to face the pain. Too often, we try to bury our hurts, to ignore them, to push them down as if pretending they don't exist will make them disappear. But healing cannot happen in the dark corners of your heart. It requires bringing those wounds into the light. Acknowledging your pain is the first step toward healing. It's about giving yourself permission to feel what you've been avoiding: anger, sadness, fear, disappointment. It's okay to cry, to scream, to feel the full range of emotions that come with being hurt. Your emotions are valid, and they are part of your healing process. Once you face the pain, you begin to understand it. Often we think that the pain we feel is just an emotional reaction to an event, but it's deeper than that. It's tied to unmet needs, broken expectations, or unresolved fears. Pain can be a teacher if we allow it to be. What is this pain telling you about yourself? What have you learned from the experience? What do you need to let go of in order to move on? Healing involves understanding the root cause of your hurt and making the conscious choice to release it. This release is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. Healing is a process, a messy, unpredictable, and sometimes painful process. But forgiveness is a crucial part of that journey. Forgiving others who have hurt you does not mean excusing their behavior or forgetting what happened. It means choosing to release the power that those past events have over you. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, not the other person. It's the act of saying, I will not carry this burden with me anymore. It's an act of self-liberation, allowing yourself to move forward without the chains of anger, resentment, or blame. In addition to forgiving others, forgiving yourself is equally important. Many times we hold on to guilt for things we feel we should have done differently, decisions we regret, or mistakes we made. But the truth is, we are all human. We are all learning and growing, and we all make mistakes. Self-forgiveness is the key to letting go of regret. It's about recognizing that your past actions don't define your worth or your future. You are allowed to make amends with yourself, to release the shame and guilt, and to embrace the lessons that came with those experiences. Part of healing from past hurts is also learning to trust again. After you've been betrayed or hurt, it's natural to build walls around your heart. You might start to believe that people can't be trusted, or that love and connection are too risky. But healing requires vulnerability. It requires allowing yourself to trust again, not necessarily others, but trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. Trusting your ability to heal, to set healthy boundaries, and to protect yourself while still allowing space for love and connection. Trust is not about being naive. It's about learning to discern who deserves your trust and who doesn't. It's about cultivating a sense of self-assurance that you will be okay no matter what happens. Another critical aspect of healing is letting go of the need for closure. Many of us hold on to the hope that the people who hurt us will offer us an apology or an explanation that will somehow make everything better. We may spend years waiting for closure, only to find that it never comes. The truth is, closure is something you give to yourself. It's not something that can be handed to you by someone else. Closure comes when you make peace with the fact that some questions may never be answered, some people may never apologize, and some wounds may never be fully understood. The power lies in your ability to find peace within yourself, to release the need for others to provide it for you. Healing also involves accepting that your past is part of your story, but it is not the whole story. So often we get stuck in the narrative of our past hurts, replaying them over and over in our minds. We let those past experiences shape how we see ourselves in the world. But your past is only a chapter in your life, not the entire book. You have the power to turn the page, to begin a new chapter, to write a new narrative. You are not the sum of your past pain. You are the story of your resilience, your growth, and your transformation. As you heal, take time to nourish your soul. Healing isn't just about confronting pain. It's about nurturing yourself with love, care, and compassion. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, with environments that bring you peace, and with activities that inspire joy. Fill your life with things that make you feel whole again. Whether it's a creative pursuit, spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, or simply resting, make sure you are replenishing your spirit as you go through the healing process. Finally, understand that healing doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. There may be triggers, reminders, or moments when the past resurfaces, but healing means learning to live with your scars, to no longer let them control your life. You will carry the lessons of the past with you, but you won't be defined by them. You'll carry the strength, the wisdom, and the resilience that comes from overcoming your past hurts. Healing is an ongoing journey, and it's one that requires patience, commitment, and above all, love. The more you heal, the more you realize that your past, no matter how painful, does not have the power to determine who you are. You are a work in progress, and with every step you take toward healing, you are moving closer to the person you are meant to be. The word relationship often evokes images of romantic partnerships, family connections, or friendships. But in reality, relationships are not limited to these traditional categories. A relationship is simply the way you connect with someone or something, how you interact, how you communicate, how you share space, energy, and emotions. We've been conditioned to believe that our relationships with others define our worth, our happiness, and even our purpose. Yet, one of the most profound truths I've come to realize is that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Before we can redefine our relationships with others, we must first redefine the relationship we have with ourselves. The need for a new perspective on relationships. For many of us, our understanding of relationships has been shaped by society's expectations and the media's portrayal of love and companionship. We often look for relationships to fulfill us, to complete us, to give us a sense of purpose. But true fulfillment doesn't come from another person, it comes from within. Redefining relationships means releasing the belief that someone else can make us whole. It's about recognizing that we are already whole, already complete. When we come into any relationship, romantic or platonic, from a place of self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love, we stop looking for others to fix us or make us feel validated. Instead, we enter relationships to share our authentic selves, to grow together, and to uplift one another. Shifting from dependency to interdependence. A traditional view of relationships often emphasizes dependency, where one person relies heavily on the other for emotional support, validation, or fulfillment. While interdependence, the idea of mutually relying on each other for support, is healthy and necessary in close relationships, dependency leads to imbalance. When we depend on someone else to complete us, we place unrealistic expectations on them and ultimately on the relationship itself. Redefining relationships requires shifting from a mindset of dependency to one of interdependence. Interdependence means that both people in the relationship maintain their individuality, autonomy, and sense of self while offering mutual support. It means recognizing that while we can give to each other, we don't need each other to survive or feel whole. In an interdependent relationship, both individuals grow together while respecting each other's personal growth and space. Setting healthy boundaries. Another key aspect of redefining relationships is learning to set healthy boundaries. Too often we avoid setting boundaries out of fear of conflict or rejection. We fear that if we set limits, whether emotional, physical, or mental, people will leave, judge us, or misunderstand our intentions. But boundaries are not walls, they are guidelines for how we want to be treated, and they protect our energy, well-being, and sense of self. When we redefine our relationships, we begin to understand that boundaries are not only necessary, they are essential. Boundaries allow us to preserve our peace while fostering healthier, more respectful interactions. In redefining relationships, we stop giving away our energy to people who drain us, to situations that deplete us, or to environments that don't align with our values. We learn that saying no is just as important as saying yes. And that true love and respect for others comes from honoring our own needs and limits. The importance of communication. Clear, open, and honest communication is the backbone of any healthy relationship. When we redefine relationships, we move away from the idea that communication is only about sharing feelings or expressing needs. It becomes a deeper, ongoing conversation, one that involves listening deeply, being vulnerable, and seeking understanding, not just agreement. Misunderstandings often arise from assumptions, expectations, and unspoken emotions. Redefining relationships means creating space for vulnerable conversations where both parties can speak their truths without fear of judgment or criticism. It also means practicing empathy, the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective. True communication is not just about getting your point across, it's about deeply understanding the other person's point of view and learning how to navigate differences with compassion. In relationships, it's not enough to talk at each other, we need to talk with each other. Listen with intention and be open to growth, change, and compromise. Learning to let go of toxic relationships. One of the hardest aspects of redefining relationships is knowing when to let go. We often hold on to relationships out of fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of not being enough. We may also hold on out of obligation, guilt, or the belief that we can fix the other person. But sometimes the healthiest thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away from relationships that no longer serve us. This could mean ending a romantic partnership that has become toxic, distancing yourself from friends or family members who are emotionally draining, or even cutting ties with people who consistently disrespect your boundaries. Letting go doesn't mean you hate the person or that you don't care. It means you're choosing to prioritize your own well-being and emotional health. It means acknowledging that while love is important, self-love is more important. You are worthy of relationships that nourish your spirit, not ones that keep you in a cycle of pain, resentment, or manipulation. Redefining relationships means giving yourself permission to release anything or anyone that no longer aligns with your true self. Cultivating healthy, fulfilling relationships. Redefining relationships also involves nurturing the relationships that are worth keeping. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect, shared values, and a willingness to support each other's growth. In these relationships, you can show up as your authentic self, flaws, quirks, and all, and still feel loved and accepted. In redefining relationships, we stop seeking perfection in ourselves or others. We recognize that no one is flawless, but we are all deserving of love, respect, and kindness. Healthy relationships are about growth and mutual support. They are about being there for each other during the highs and lows of life, while still maintaining individual identities and goals. True connection comes from being vulnerable with each other and allowing room for both individuals to grow, change, and evolve. Learning to love without expectation. When we redefine relationships, we also learn the art of loving without expectation. Too often we enter relationships with an underlying agenda, expecting the other person to meet our needs in specific ways. We might expect love, attention, validation, or loyalty in return for our own affection and effort. But love is not transactional. True love is unconditional. It doesn't keep score or demand anything in return. Redefining relationships means learning to give love freely without the expectation that you will always get something back. When you love without expectation, you open yourself up to deeper, more authentic connections with others. Reimagining family and friendships. Lastly, redefining relationships often involves reimagining what family and friendship mean. Traditional ideas of family can sometimes be limiting, especially when they are based on blood ties or social expectations. Family doesn't always have to be biological. You can create your own chosen family, people who truly understand you, who support your dreams, and who accept you for who you are, flaws and all. The same goes for friendships. True friends are the ones who stand by you in good times and bad, who celebrate your victories and lift you up during your defeats. Redefining these relationships means breaking free from the old, rigid definitions and embracing the ones that bring you the most peace, joy, and authenticity. By redefining relationships, we begin to live with greater authenticity. We stop seeking outside validation and start finding contentment within ourselves. We stop holding on to toxic connections and begin fostering relationships that truly nourish us. We learn to love ourselves and others in healthier, more genuine ways. In the end, it's not about the quantity of our relationships, but the quality, the depth, the authenticity, and the mutual respect that we bring to those connections. Independence is one of the most powerful attributes we can cultivate in our lives. It is the foundation of self-respect, self-sufficiency, and personal growth. To be independent is to stand strong in your own truth, to make decisions that reflect your values, and to chart your own path without the constant need for external validation or approval. Independence is not about isolation or detachment, rather. It is about empowerment, the ability to make choices and navigate your life based on your own inner compass, rather than relying on others to determine your worth or direction. From a young age, we are often taught that dependence is a sign of weakness, that needing others means we are incomplete or incapable. In many societies, especially in the context of relationships or family dynamics, there is a heavy emphasis on mutual dependence, where individuals rely heavily on one another for emotional, financial, or social support. While interdependence, the idea of mutually beneficial relationships where both parties support each other, is a healthy goal in some contexts, dependence, especially emotional or psychological dependence, can hinder growth and limit personal freedom. When you depend on someone for your happiness, your validation, or your sense of security, you become vulnerable to external forces. Your emotional well-being becomes tethered to someone else's actions, words, or presence. The dangers of dependency are manifold. For one, it creates an unhealthy dynamic where one person holds more power than the other. This power imbalance can lead to manipulation, control, and resentment. It can also prevent you from learning how to navigate life on your own terms. Dependence creates a mindset of scarcity, the idea that you cannot be complete or fulfilled without someone else. This, in turn, fuels feelings of inadequacy and helplessness. Dependency often means you are looking outside of yourself for fulfillment, rather than cultivating the strength, wisdom, and resilience that lie within you. On the other hand, independence offers freedom to make your own choices, to own your decisions, and to live your life according to your values. Independence is about taking responsibility for yourself, your happiness, and your future. It's about developing the inner strength to face challenges head-on without waiting for someone else to come to your rescue or make things easier. When you are independent, you no longer wait for permission to live your life fully. You know that you are enough as you are, and you trust yourself to handle whatever life throws your way. To be independent is not to reject relationships, nor is it to sever the connections you have with others. In fact, the more you embrace your independence, the more authentic and fulfilling your relationships can become. Why? Because independence allows you to show up as your true self, unafraid of being judged or criticized for not conforming to someone else's expectations. You are no longer seeking validation from others to feel worthy. Instead, you know that your worth is inherent, not dependent on someone else's approval. Financial independence is one of the clearest forms of personal autonomy. It provides you with the ability to make choices based on what you truly desire, rather than what others impose upon you. Financial dependence often traps individuals in unhealthy or unfulfilling situations, whether it's staying in a job that drains your soul, remaining in a relationship out of necessity, or compromising your values because you need the support of someone else. Financial independence gives you the power to stand up for your needs, to pursue your dreams without restriction, and to maintain your dignity and peace in difficult circumstances. It allows you to say no when necessary and to walk away from situations that no longer align with your values or vision for your life. But independence is not limited to just financial autonomy. It is also about emotional and psychological independence. Emotional independence means that your happiness, sense of peace, and self-worth are not contingent on someone else's mood, behavior, or opinions. It means that you are able to manage your emotions, face your fears, and heal from past wounds without constantly seeking reassurance or comfort from others. Emotional independence is about learning how to be at peace with yourself, to find joy in your own company, and to handle life's challenges with grace and resilience. It means acknowledging your emotions but not letting them control your actions or define your self-worth. Psychological independence goes hand in hand with emotional independence. It's the ability to think for yourself, to question societal norms, and to make choices based on your own understanding of the world, rather than simply conforming to what others expect of you. It involves critical thinking, self-reflection, and the courage to stand firm in your beliefs, even when they differ from the majority. Psychological independence is about freeing yourself from the constraints of other people's opinions, biases, and judgments. When you think independently, you don't let the noise of the world drown out your own inner voice. You trust yourself to make decisions that align with your truth. A critical component of embracing independence is learning to trust your own instincts. Many people struggle with decision-making because they are constantly second-guessing themselves, seeking advice from others, or wondering if they are making the right choice. True independence comes from trusting that you are capable of making the best decisions for yourself. This requires listening to your intuition, evaluating your options with clarity, and having the confidence to move forward, even if the path ahead is uncertain. Trusting yourself means accepting that you will make mistakes, and that is okay. Mistakes are part of the learning process, but they do not define you. One of the most significant shifts that happens when you embrace independence is the empowerment of knowing you are the architect of your life. No one else holds the key to your happiness or success. You are responsible for creating your own future, setting your own goals, and taking the necessary actions to achieve them. Independence means that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances, nor do you rely on others to give you permission to live the life you desire. You are empowered to shape your destiny, and you understand that the choices you make today will create the foundation for tomorrow. Independence is not a rejection of community, however. It is important to note that true independence doesn't mean shutting out others or avoiding relationships altogether. On the contrary, independent individuals tend to have stronger, healthier relationships because they are coming from a place of self-assurance and authenticity. They do not need the approval or constant validation of others, and because of that, they can engage in relationships from a place of love and respect, not neediness. They attract people who also value their independence and who seek to build mutually fulfilling connections. At the core of independence over dependence is the understanding that you are enough, that you do not need to rely on anyone else to feel whole or complete. You are capable of taking care of yourself emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially. You have the strength and the resilience to face life's challenges head on, and you trust yourself to make the best decisions for your future. Independence is the freedom to live your life on your terms without the weight of dependency holding you back. When you choose independence, you choose freedom, you choose empowerment, you choose the life you were always meant to live.